What's up, everybody? It's Isaac here at Dream Reality Studios, the Skoolie conversion shop. And today we're getting ready to put electrical in the project bus, aka Vin Diesel. So I kind of want to show you what the basic layout's going to be and walk you through that before we start getting into it. So let's get in the bus and go check it out. So when you're doing your electrical, you kind of want to figure out where things are going to go before you start just cutting and wiring things. So I'm going to kind of show you the few things that we're going to have in this bus and where they're going to kind of go, and then we'll get into like doing it. So underneath the bed, right here underneath the frame, I'm going to cut a piece of plywood and put it right there so that I can mount stuff to that. And then that's going to be, the battery's going to be down here, the 12 volt distribution block, everything's going to kind of come from here. I haven't decided on the diesel heater yet. So we are basically going to have wire. We need to get power to the Skoolie toilet because it has a fan, so we need to get power to here. I have these silicone lights that are going to be on both sides of the bus, so I'm going to wire those together on a dimmer switch, and I'm thinking about putting the dimmer switch somewhere along here or even over here somewhere. I need to get power to the Rec Pro stove. I need to get power to the water pump. That's the thing, is like you got to figure out where everything's kind of going. It's gonna have two sconces in those holes back there with a dimmer switch back there. So there's gonna be lots of light in here. There's gonna be a 12 volt distribution block somewhere for charging your phones and things like that, and you don't have to run your inverter. There will be 110 off the inverter, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put the outlet right there for that, and then I can run all the wires through there. And that's why I left all this open up here, so I can run wires, that's not set yet, run wires behind all that stuff. So I think the first thing we're gonna do is, we have our workbenches out there. I need to clear them off a little better, and we're just gonna pull all the electrical stuff out so I can see everything and kind of like, I don't know how your guys' minds are. Oh yeah, and I forgot, we have a gray tank release, 12 volt. So just figure out everything, put everything out here so I can see everything going on in, and then I can kind of start just kind of running a line at a time. So let's get everything out here and let's get figuring this thing out. What we're doing is basically I'm wiring the whole distribution center outside of the bus so that it's easier for me to do it without crawling underneath the bed over there. And then I'll just tack the whole board up. So we got this all laid out, and basically I'll give you an idea of what's going on. This is the charge controller. So the solar wires are going to come into here and basically juice this up, and then this is the battery. This is going to go to our battery and charge our battery. So solar comes in here, comes out here, charges our battery, right? This is our load. So this is our 12 volt distribution load. So and that goes to our 12 volt distribution fuse block. And I can turn this on and off with an app on my phone. So I can also monitor what's being used, how much power is coming in, blah, 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 blah. So a lot of people will wire their 12 volt fuse block straight to their battery. The problem with that is you can't monitor what's actually being used. And you want to use your 12 volt as much as possible because it's the most efficient. So basically what we're gonna do right now is we are going to run our wire from here to our distribution block, and we are going to use 8 gauge wire. So the wire that comes with your solar panel is 10. So you can use 10 gauge for this too. I like to go a little bigger sometimes because that's what will cause your fire if your wire is too small and there's too much power going through it. Boom, flame, all bad. So you can use 10 gauge for this run. I'm gonna use 8 because I didn't buy enough 10 and this will be fine. So I'm using 8 gauge wire to go from here to here. And on the distribution block, you've got negative and positive. Negative, positive, boom. That's what we're doing right now. We used 8 gauge for this run here. Again, you can use 10 for this. But this guy here, this is a 40 amp DC to DC charger. And I guess I'll talk about that right now. So a lot of people use smart isolators, right? So the difference between this and a smart isolator, we're gonna get detailed, I guess. A smart isolator, basically when your house batteries are at a certain voltage, it kicks the extra juice back to your house battery. So the problems with that is, the mistake I made is if your batteries are different. Like most of your vehicles are gonna have lead acid batteries. I have lithium in the back. They're different voltages, so it's sending a lead acid voltage back to your lithium and it will damage it. I destroyed a $1,000 Battleborn battery a couple years ago because I didn't know that. And the other thing is it'll overcharge it and destroy your battery. So it doesn't turn off. Once your house batteries are at a certain voltage, it just keeps shooting juice back to your house battery. Not good. This is a smart DC to DC charger. So what that means is it'll sense when your house battery is completely full and float the charge. Basically turn off and not keep jacking your battery up. The other thing is now you can use different voltage batteries. So you can have a lead acid up front and you're gonna connect to that and you're gonna come to your smart isolator, and this is basically a battery charger, and you can, there's dip switches over here, and you can set it for the type of battery you have. So your house batteries are going to turn this on, and then this unit is going to charge whatever battery bank you have in the back, and it's gonna turn off and float when the batteries are full. These are more expensive, but like 100% worth it, so you don't destroy a $1,000 lithium battery like I did 2 years ago. And I learned that from Battleborn. This is from their words. This is their words, not mine, and I'm just relaying to you a huge mistake I made. So always do a DC to DC charger. The only time that it's okay to do a smart isolator, I would say is never, personally, but if you have the same batteries all the way through. So if you have lead acid up front in your vehicle and you got lead acid in your house, then it's somewhat okay. Same thing with AGM. If it's all AGM up here, your batteries have to match for a smart isolator to work. So that being said, it will work, and then over 2 years, like mine, it'll destroy it. So that's a little tip. But the main reason we're here is I'm gonna talk about the wire gauge. So this is different. So this is 4 gauge wire, right? Now this 4 gauge wire is gonna go from my battery underneath the bus and run back to this in my power station. So I recommend you use 4 gauge wire for your DC to DC charger system, and then we'll hop back into putting this all together. So let's get do that. Hello. So I want to talk about shore power. So that's what this hole is for. It's a shore power port. A lot of people spend a lot of money on really, oh, I just stepped on my whole socket. A lot of people spend a lot of money on the inverter, shore power charger situation things. So I'm gonna show you what I use. So this is a little NOCO, regular old 3-prong stick an extension cord in deal, right? And then it has 2 regular deals on it, right? I'm just gonna mount this in here, and then one end is going to attach to this lithium battery charger tender that's gonna top off the battery and keep it in good health. I mean, this is like $20. This is like $13. You know how much those other things are? A lot. And that's how I do shore power. I think it's super simple. That's how I've had it in my bus for 2 years, so I know it works. Maybe a lot of you guys have a different idea, but that's how I do it. What's up, everybody? So I just kind of finished the electrical in the project bus. It's like 98% done, but I'm still waiting on a battery, but everything is in and hooked up for now. So I want to talk you through everything that's in here so you can kind of see what it all turned into. And right now we're just running it off the Jackery just to test everything. You always want to try and run as much of your electrical system off of 12 volt because it's the most efficient. It doesn't hardly draw anything. 110 for your computers and stuff is what really draws your power. So your lighting, as much as you can get on 12 volt, you try and get on 12 volt. So the first thing that you got when you come in is your main lighting source, which are these waterproof silicone string lights hooked up to this dimmer switch right here. So turn them on and off, and then you can also dim it if you want to set the vibe and kind of control the lighting inside the bus. And then those two fixtures back there, I'll show you, that's your other lighting. They're 12 volt fixtures and they're just hooked up to this dimmer switch in the wall, and they just, you know, roll them up or down. And then, so that's it for your lighting. And then you head back over here, and obviously there's going to be a countertop and all that stuff in here later. But so this is your gray tank dump valve. So you just, after you have it hooked up, you can hear it. It's opening the ball valve underneath the bus for your gray tank. If you want to close it, boom, all remote. You don't even have to get out of your rig, but hook that up to a dump station before you just hit the switch, you know. And then obviously the water heater, tankless, has power coming to it, but I can't really show you that because I don't have any water in here. And then you come over here in your 12 volt fridge. We wired a 12 volt plug right here, and your fridge gets its power right there. And then one of the big misconceptions about a fridge is if you look in the manuals, it says they'd like run 50 watts, and then people do their solar calculations with 50 watts running 24/7, which is actually not the case. It only uses 50 watts when the compressor turns on for however long it needs to get to whatever temperature you set it at. So like once it gets to whatever temperature it's at, you know, it pretty much just stays there. It's like a cooler. So like if it starts getting cooled down, it'll kick on for 2 minutes to bring it back to temperature. So it's like it pretty much almost draws nothing as long as you don't leave the thing wide open. So when you're doing solar calculations, that's where a lot of people go wrong right there. This thing's only going to kick on for 2 minutes a day, which doesn't draw anything, to be honest. So the only other thing is we do have the oven. I ran the wire, left it here because the oven has some fancy like lights in it. It turns on, but the wires ran for it. Oven's not here because the countertop's still drying from epoxy. Come over here. So this is your battery monitor. So you can see where your battery's at, your voltage, how much is left in it. The reason I put this in is because I hid the charge controller underneath the bed, which usually, yeah, it's that big white thing. It's just a really big, bulky unit. I usually wire them like into the bus, but it's like, it's just kind of a big thing. And these are cheap. This is like $8, and like I hid the charge controller under there. It's small, it's sleek. I think it looks a lot cooler. Now this is gonna be a dinette area that drops into a bed. So I wanted to have a place to charge your phones. So this is your USB outlet, it's touch. You can turn it on or off, kind of fancy, right? And then you're also gonna probably be working on your computer, things like that. So we have 110 outlets with more USBs right here by the dinette, so you can plug in your laptops, things like that. There's another 110 outlet behind you in the kitchen area, and that's for like blenders or any type of kitchen thing that you're gonna want power to. And another thing you guys should know about electrical systems is, so those outlets are ran to a 110 out or to an inverter. So an inverter takes a 12-volt battery, turns it into 110 appliance power. But that being said, that's one of your biggest draws is 110. So that inverter just being turned on is drawing on your battery system without you even plugging in an appliance. So you never want to just leave your inverter on unless you have a gigantic battery bank. And I just don't think it's good for the inverter anyways to just be on 24/7. So below you here, I have an on-off switch wired in. So you just turn it on, turn it off. So I only turn it on when I need to use the outlets, and I turn it off when I don't. And then over here, I'm still waiting on the tubing for the fan. So when you're doing your business, it's got this 12-volt exhaust fan, and it's basically sucking all the air out of the toilet and sending it out to your neighbors in the parking lot next to you. And then over here, you got a climate controlled heater. So you just turn this on, you set a temperature, and this will kick on and off to keep a temperature inside the bus. Makes it very comfortable in the winter. Big difference. And then I'll crawl under here. So this is the heart of it. So this is the charge controller. So the solar is gonna come. The solar's gonna come from the roof, come into here, which I haven't put the deck on yet, and that's gonna bring your power in here. And then you good? And then this is your 12-volt distribution block. So this is where all the appliances, the fuse block, it's all labeled, where everything's coming to, and it's controlled with a charge controller that you can control from a phone app. So you can kind of see like what's drawing what, where your battery's at, turn it on or off, Bluetooth with your phone. Now, the battery is gonna sit right here whenever I get it, and that's what's storing all the power. So it can charge 3 ways. So the battery can charge from the charge controller from solar. It can charge from shore power. So if you plug in an extension cord to the outside, that extension cord goes to this lithium battery charger tender, which basically reads the battery, decides if it needs more stuff, more juice, and then once it's full, it'll float and not overcharge it. So you have shore power / battery tender here. And then the third way it's gonna charge is right here, which is a DC to DC charger. Never depend on one thing to charge your battery bank, because one thing breaks, you can't charge your battery. So the way this works is this is hooked up to the vehicle's alternator, and when the vehicle's on, it basically sends power to this charger, and then the charger has dip switches here depending on the type of battery you have, and it'll send the right voltage to your battery to charge it, because they're all different, and if you charge stuff on the wrong things, it damages your battery. So you have 3 ways to charge it: solar, shore power, and your vehicle's alternator. So if you're in the rain and you have no solar, you just turn your vehicle on for 15 minutes, your battery bank charges. If you're in your grandma's front yard and you have an extension cord, you just plug it in and don't worry about anything. And then this is the heater with the exhaust fans underneath, so you don't have any stuff inside. Whoa. And then your 110's outlets are just controlled off of this. And then this is the wire to the remote that we wired over on the toilet section, so you can turn this on and off without crawling underneath the bed. The only other thing that has power is the water pump back there. It's a 12-volt water pump, which just, it senses when there's a pressure change and turns on to pump the water. And that's it. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that whole fuse block is full of stuff. And that's basically the entire electric system for this bus. And it's pretty much kind of all the same on everything I do and what I recommend you guys put in your buses or vans. Never depend on one system to charge. And then it's just made to be usable. That's why there's phone stuff by the dinette. There's an outlet by the dinette. There's an outlet in the kitchen. You know, I've been living in this bus for 2 years, and there's a lot of things I wish I had, so, and wish things they were the way they are. So this is what I would do right now if I was rebuilding my bus. And that's it, man. So hopefully you guys learned something with this video. And if you have questions, make sure to drop a comment below and subscribe to learn some more stuff about building your school bus. This is Isaac signing out. Brandon's behind the camera. I appreciate you. Peace out.
Peace out.